Hi, this is Mike along the Tennessee River, and today I want to talk about some of the differences in the types of guns. You have a revolver, and the reason this is called a revolver is the area where you put the bullets. When you pull the hammer back, the cylinder revolves, hence the name revolver. And then you have your semi-automatic pistols. This is a 1911, shoots a 45 caliber. So this is known as hammered fire because it has a hammer. This is a CZ75. It also has a hammer, and it has a magazine. The magazine allows you to load a lot of rounds in the magazine. And then you have, this is my carry gun. It's a striker fire. So the big difference is here. So this is similar to the pistols the cowboys would use. And it's called single action. In the single action, let me adjust this a little bit. So a single action pistol, the way it works is you have to pull the hammer back, and when you pull the trigger it only does one thing, which is release the hammer. So pull the hammer back, and that's when you see the cowboys fanning the gun, and they just keep the trigger pulled as they fan it. 1911, typically they use this initially in World War I and World War II, and they really didn't stop using it until I think it was after Vietnam. It shoots the 45 ACP rounds, a big fat round compared to a 22. And the safety on this is this little lever right here, and you flip it down. And typically when they say cocked and locked, it means you have the hammer back and the safety on, so you can't fire it by accident. And when you go to fire it, you just clear that and then pull the trigger. One of my favorite pistols to shoot is kind of a hybrid of the 1911. It has a wider grip, so it can. This is a 9mm, and I'm going to shoot some. I don't want to shoot these hollow points on this thing. So right now, this has a similar locking mechanism here. Well, actually, this is a little different in that this is a single action, and this is the 1911 is a single action. So the 1911, in order for it to fire, has to have the hammer back. All right. This one, get the round out of there. You can see the round is now it's clear. And this one is, if you pull the slide back, it acts like a 1911, but this one has a decocker. So if you don't have the hammer back, a double action allows you to pull the trigger, brings the hammer back, and then releases the hammer. All right. I don't want to shoot my hollow points with this. The striker fire doesn't have a hammer. It's got the firing mechanism internally, so you can't get it caught up on anything. Now, one of the things you have to be careful with any of these automatic pistols or semi-automatic pistols is that if you push it up against something, you take it out of battery and it won't fire. So whenever you use it, you want to have your hand away. You don't want to shoot your hand, but have enough distance from who you're shooting that it won't go off. The revolvers don't have that action, and you could have this right up against somebody if you were in a fight. All right, so I'm going to move the camera around. I'm going to load up the 22, show you how to load up the 22. So it might be a little dark because of the river in the background. There's a lot of light. So since this was a single action, this has a loading gate. Now typically the cowboy guns, you had to be at half cock, but this is a Ruger Wrangler, and they are a little bit lean. They designed it so you don't have to be at half cock to load it. So I'm going to load the standard 6. Spin the guns pointing away from me. And the other thing about this is typically when you're rotating the cylinder, you hear a click, and the Wranglers, you won't get that. So this is not a hollow point. I'm going to put that back in the CZ. See if I can find the bolt that came out of there. And to make sure that I'm not shooting hollow points in this. So I'm not shooting hollow points in that. And the 1911 doesn't have hollow points. So we're going to shoot a couple rounds out of each gun, a little metal casing, and you'll be able to hear it. Let me put my eyes and ears on. Typically, in a pistol or a carbine, which is a rifle that shoots a pistol round, the longer the barrel, the more velocity on the round. So we're going to shoot 6 rounds with this pistol. I think that's it. And we'll shoot a couple rounds with the 45 just to see what that's like. Big holes. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. A couple rounds with the 9mm. Make sure we got a bullet in there. And then a couple more rounds. You go ahead and safe that or decock it. A couple of rounds with my carry gun. Alright, so that's it. So let's go see the hole we put in this thing. So I was shooting at just a metal plate, and you can see here's a 22 round. This is a 9mm round. This is a 45 round, and a couple of these 45s went together, and this is another 9mm round. So the 9mm rounds are going much faster than the 45 rounds, but the 45 rounds, the bullet itself is much heavier, so it has more energy. And so that's our lesson for today. So you've learned about the single action, which is like the cowboy pistols, and also some semi-automatics like your 1911 are single action, and then you have a double action semi-automatic, and most modern day revolvers are double action. So if the hammer is down, as you pull the trigger, it will go back and release. And this is your striker fire gun, and all your Glocks that I know of are striker fired, which means there's no hammer in the back, where this has a hammer. There's no hammer in the back. You see the hammer here and the hammer there. So striker fires basically has an internal hammer, and typically the triggers are a little heavier to pull. Once these things, and the 1911s especially, when they're ready to go, they have a very light trigger, so you don't have to pull that hard. The harder you pull, the more inaccurate you become. So that's the nice thing about these semi-automatics that have the slide that come back, and the striker fires don't, so that the trigger pulls a little heavier, a little less accuracy. Well, that's about all the knowledge I have right now that I can impart on you. Have a good day. Isn't it beautiful up here? I just love coming up here. Of course, my neighbors don't like me shooting, but that's the way it goes. All right. Pasta on the river, out.